talk about some sports now because we got sports stuff to talk about, and this is a sports show. If you're watching this on YouTube, well, it's just the Wasted Talent with Josh Beard, same as on Facebook. But if you're fucking watching this on Twitch, this is Wasted Talent with Josh Beard, Twitch's #1 sports talk show.
Fact.
That's right, bringing it. Fact #1. I don't know if I can say only because there might be like one other fat guy trying to talk sports or pretend like he knows how to talk sports, and then I'm the other fat guy that's trying to pretend that he knows how to talk sports. But I know that it's the #1. That's for sure.
I mean, to be fair, like ESPN 97.5 streams all day on Twitch, but like
wow, it's not the same. They're not. It's not a Twitch dedicated sports talk show. Wow, you just got to throw me under the bus in the same city that I work in on my own show, Joe.
You told me that. You told me that's what I was here for.
That's true, yeah. Speaking of things I hate, we're going to talk about the worst sentence I've ever heard in my entire life. Matt Khalil is our starting left tackle. Oh my God. Like, I don't know. Honestly, my biggest question at this point for you and for everybody and for myself is where the fuck are we at with Bill O'Brien? Where are we at with Bill O'Brien as a dude? As just like, not even as a coach, as like just a human being, as a person. Like, I get wanting to control the message. I get having the PR, and we've talked about that ad nauseum. But dude, I'm just starting to get really, really annoyed with his shit. Like, just every time he opens his mouth, he seems like the most petulant asshat I've ever seen. And I get he's got that mass hole vibe, and he's like this hard-nosed, gruff dude, and he wants to control what people are saying about it. But he treats the media like he jokes around, but he still makes fun of people. And then when he gets angry, he treats the media like shit. But it's not like in a lovable, well, I guess it's kind of lovable, but like the lovable Bill Belichick kind of way, where it's like, oh, that's just Bill Belichick. It's like, no, I want to punch you in the face because you're an absolute douchebag kind of way. And so like, When he said that Matt Khalil is our starting left tackle, and then he went off on media about asking about injuries, what was that, yesterday or the day before?
Yeah, like, that was yesterday.
Dude, get the fuck out of here. It's their job. Look, some people don't like to just say it's not my job. Some people actually like to take ownership over their job and what they're supposed to be doing, and it's their job to ask the questions about the injuries. They know they have to do it, and they know they don't want to do it. They know you're not going to answer it, but they're going to ask the question anyway. So you also need to play the game. You know they're going to ask the question. You know how you're going to answer it. So just fucking answer it without being a douchebag. Get past the awkwardness and then move on. But I'm so annoyed with Bill O'Brien as a guy. Just as a dude. I'm already skeptical and annoyed with him as a head coach, but just as a human being who's supposed to interact with other human beings in relatively reasonable ways, I think he's an absolute douchebag. And the more power that he's gotten in this organization, the worse his douchebaggery has gotten. And it's so annoying.
Like, because he's been like this since, like, day one. Like, you can go back to that first season that he was with the Texans, and if he doesn't like your question, he's going to tell you why. But here's my thing with Bill O'Brien. Is, of course, he's annoyed, but, like, he didn't have to answer. I'm pretty sure it was Jeremy who asked the Matt Khalil question.
It was definitely Jeremy, for sure. Which, when we did the Bull Rush with Jeremy obviously, like, he's not Bill O'Brien's favorite person. He likes Jeremy better than Landry, of course. But I
don't think Bill really likes a lot of the people in the media. Like, He definitely, there are people at 790 he doesn't like. He definitely doesn't like most of the 97.5 people. Mm-hmm. Part of that's because those two stations are very underrepresented at Texans practice and then complain, frankly, when they can't get guests because they're annoyed. And then I think there's a realization that, like, look, 610's driving a narrative, and I think that's why he's annoyed by some of this, is that there's a narrative that the three radio stations are all trying to put out there, and he is feeling like he's being forced because it's not a traditional market. Like, it's not, when you go out to a Texans practice, yes, Aaron Wilson's there, John McClain, like your guys for the Chronicle, the Athletic, and then, like, it's radio people. So they're asking questions so they have topics to talk about on the radio. I think he knows that, one. Two, I think the media in this town does a shit job of asking follow-up questions.
Oh, absolutely.
Paul Gallant tweeted this out today. Someone needs to ask why. Like, when he says Matt Khalil's a starting left tackle, the simple question is, why is Matt Khalil your starting left tackle? Because then you get a real answer into Bill O'Brien. You don't just let him go on to the next question, because that's what's happening.
Yep.
way too often is he's able to say things and then no one challenges on him. And I don't blame him. So then the next day, everyone hears a soundbite and then they have all the questions and then he gets annoyed. It is frustrating. Like, and I do think that, like, I'm tired of the act. I don't think Bill O'Brien, like, is obviously he doesn't have the same. I'm not gonna say Greg Popovich and Bill Belichick have a right, but everyone knows that they're kind of D-bags too.
Yeah,
but since
they fucking earned it.
Yeah, but they were before.
Yeah.
Like, I bet you can go find, like, Bill Belichick when he's the coach of the crap-ass Browns and, like, find basically the same thing that Bill O'Brien's doing. And Greg Popovich, when the Spurs don't make the playoffs this season, he's still going to be an asshole. Like, it's not going to change.
No, but he's earned it. He's earned every bit of being the asshole, even if they don't make the playoffs.
For sure. So, like, I get why people are frustrated with Bill O'Brien. I'm frustrated with Bill O'Brien because, like, to me, it's simple. But then again, like, he gets so mad and he's like, it's a coach's decision, and we still don't know why Matt Khalil's not practicing because no one asked why. And then he freaks out yesterday. And Josh, this is just this annoys me about people interviewing Bill O'Brien. No one asked him today about Matt Khalil. Like,
not a single person did.
I don't know if, like, it was like PR or like message was sent loud and clear. Possible. But, like, no one followed up today and being like, so Matt didn't practice again. Like, what the hell is going on? So it's frustrating. But here's my thing. Here's my biggest thing with Bill O'Brien.
Okay.
I know it seems bad, but, like, I think it's going to get worse if they get rid of him.
Because, you think so? Why?
Because my experience as a Bears fan is 10-6 in 2010 and firing Lovie Smith. The last time they made the playoffs was 2008, so they went 10 years without making the playoffs after going 10-6 with Lovie. After that happened, they bring in trash Mark Trestman. He sucks. You trade Greg Olsen, still one of the best tight ends in the NFL when he's healthy. You cut Robbie Gould, who, if he's on your team, you might have gone to the Super Bowl last year, or I don't know, at least the second round of the playoffs because you don't have Cody Double Doink Parkey. So you fire Lovey at 10-6, and then you go to Mark Trestman. That sucks really bad. And then you go to John Fox. That sucks even worse. And now you finally have Matt Nagy. The Texans, at least you know what you have with Bill O'Brien. Like, you know the devil that you're playing with, and whether that's 9-7 to 6-10 to 14-2, like the wide range it feels like his records are going. At least you know what you got. Because, like, if I told you they fired Bill O'Brien today, or at the end of the season, and they hired Josh McDaniels, would you honestly feel better?
I don't know that I'd feel worse. I wouldn't feel better, but I don't know if I'd feel worse, right?
That's
because at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about the coach. It's about the talent. Like, you can look at the Bears. Who did they have at quarterback whenever they started running through coaches? Like the Bears. Yeah, exactly. And, like, the Bears haven't. I do like Mitchell Trubisky, so they finally have what seems to be a young, competent franchise quarterback, but they didn't have that for a really long time, and so. The Texans are a little bit more set up for a new coach to come in and maybe be a little bit more successful because they've got Deshaun Watson, because they've got DeAndre Hopkins, and God, I hope a healthy Will Fuller, and they've got. Oh my God, look. Bill O'Brien may not be the best coach in the world, but Jesus Christ, does his offensive system help out Will Fuller? Like, Will Fuller looks like a wide receiver god in Bill O'Brien's system. And maybe that's more of Will Fuller than it is Bill O'Brien's system. But
look at Kiki is too. Like, Kiki played 3 games and had like 30 catches.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what this offense can do with Bill O'Brien. With Bill O'Brien calling the plays, with his offensive scheme. If guys can stay healthy, I'm really excited to see. And look, I'm saying me saying I'm annoyed with Bill O'Brien. I don't want them to fire him because we've said this. We said this with Jeremy Branham on the Bull Rush until we were blue in the face. Like, if you fire Bill O'Brien, what do you go get then? Like, who do you go hire? So it's not that I want to fire Bill O'Brien yet. It's not that I don't want to fire him. It's just I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed by him. Like, you understand what your job title is. You understand the details of what you're gonna have to deal with. Cole Thompson said, "Yeah, Bill really hates us." Sorry, Cole.
Cole definitely hates all of us, but like
but you a little bit more. But it's not your fault. I'm not saying it's not a bad thing. It's just, but you know what though? Cole asks tough questions.
Exactly, and people don't.
Exactly, and you know what? That's the one thing. That's the one thing I'll say is like Cole loses his fucking credential over this soft ass Texans PR. Which Jesus Christ, if I ever hope to get credentials doing this side shit, I just lost them. But look, I love everybody there. Everybody that I work with, John, Amy, every single one of them that I've worked with Texans PR. They're all great people, but it's a soft ass organization when it comes. I mean, I sat there one day, and I'll tell this story, which I couldn't fucking tell it when I was on 610, and I forgot about this. I sat in the locker room where they've got the ping pong table, and they play ping pong all the time. And I had done all the interviews I needed to do. I'd gotten all the audio I needed to get. I was just waiting for one more person who wasn't in there. And so I decided to start doing play-by-play commentary on the ping pong match between DJ Reader and JJ Watt. And I was going to get it and use it on the Bull Rush. I thought it would humanize them. I thought it was hilarious. I'm sitting there with freaking with Dylan Cole and some other guys, like getting them to give commentary. I called JJ Watt's backhand trash, and he stared me down, and I probably shouldn't have done that. But the audio was going to be hilarious. And Amy comes up to me and immediately goes, "Yeah, you're going to have to delete that." I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's not what this is for. You're going to have to delete that. That's not what this is for." And I'm just sitting there like, the Texans, they're in the middle of sucking ass because it was the beginning of the season. I think
that was like 0-2.
That was at 0-2, and like everybody in the city hated them. They hated Bill O'Brien. Well, let's humanize these motherfuckers for a little bit. And so I thought maybe doing that would be fun, and they shut it down. So they're soft and they control the message to the umpteenth degree, and it's really, really frustrating. And that's all of that. All of that is all a symptom of who Bill O'Brien is. It's all a symptom of Bill O'Brien trying to play everything to the chest. And I'm totally fine with that. I've said it a million times. I'm fine with him playing everything to the chest, or against his chest, and not telling anybody anything. But jump through the hoops. Don't act like a douchebag to people that are doing their jobs. Don't sit there and treat everybody like they're not supposed to be asking you those questions, or that you're inconvenienced. Like, people don't want to be asking you dumb questions, but I do agree, and this is what Cole did. I absolutely do agree there need to be tougher questions asked. And if I ever got credentials doing this on the side, if for some reason I ever got them, I would almost immediately have them revoked. Because
I can't believe you didn't get yours revoked last year when you asked Brock Osweiler about fumbling a fumble touchdown again. Like, when you asked him that, that's one of the funniest things you've ever done.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I feel like I've done funnier, but that was good. Yeah.
I mean, it was so awkward.
My Uncle Philip just said, "Wow, dude, certainly not building goodwill with the Texans." Look, I'm gonna say this to everybody right now. Somebody said, "Who is the tastiest quarterback on Twitch?" We'll go through tastiest quarterbacks. I do have my QB. What is it? My QB cutie pie rankings for the NFL. So maybe we'll go through those cutie pie rankings. But like, I'm not building goodwill with the Texans. That's not what I'm doing this for. I didn't get into sports talk to build goodwill with the teams. Number one, I like entertaining people and making them laugh. Number two, I like talking sports. And number three, I like being a fan. Everything that I'm doing with the Wasted Talent is all about the fans. It's all about the fan perspective. I'm not doing this for the teams. If I was doing this for the teams, I would still be at a radio station that fillets whatever team that they're covering, and we all know who I'm talking about. But I'm not there anymore. So I want to do this for the fans. And so this is all about our perspective. So look, if I get goodwill with the Texans, if I don't get goodwill with the Texans, that's fine. But what they need to understand is they're people doing what Bill O'Brien and the PR staff specifically need to understand is they're all people trying to do their job too. That's at the end of the day, that's all it is. And I'm just frustrated by him.
And here's the thing with Bill that, like, I think he could take a lesson as some of the more open coaches in the NFL is that if he just honestly answered the question, people would just move on. And because you hear the press conferences, and honestly, I get why he's annoyed because people, they find 10 different ways to ask if Matt Khalil's injured or if he's still the starter. And it's annoying. Yeah. I would be annoyed too if you kept asking me the same questions over and over again and I didn't want to answer. I would be frustrated.
Yeah.
So, but if he just gave a little more detail and like a little more answers, then a lot of this would change. A lot of the perspective would change. Like if he was just, Matt is not hurt. He's not playing because we want to see what Rod can do at left tackle. And if he's good enough, we're just not going to play Matt Khalil again, and we're just going to decide who our left tackle is. Or when he got stepped on, it's bothering him, And we don't want to risk it. He's our left tackle. He's going to play week 1 most likely if he's fully healthy, but we're just keeping him out to be safe right now. If you just gave there's no details in there. Like, you can just give long-winded garbage answers to everything, but instead of just yes, no, or throwing a tantrum, honestly, like it would go a long way if you just honestly answered the questions that are presented in front of you.
Yeah.
And help if there are media members that also ask better questions.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Cole brings up a really, really good point. I want to get to some of these comments in a minute, but Cole brought up a great point. Remember when Paul asked Bill O'Brien last year why he should be trusted as the head coach when they went 0-3? That might have been one of my favorite questions ever. But it seems like that's a grandstanding question, right? Like, and when people hear that was Paul.
What was the Landry one?
I can't remember which one the Landry one was. I know Landry asked him something.
And he did, and Bill was like, I don't know what you mean. And Landry was like, you don't know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was like, you don't know?
Yeah.
What?
Oh,
I thought Bill O'Brien was gonna murder right there. First degree, dead Landry. Like, I thought it didn't happen, but it was great.
I love like, and to me that was a little bit of grandstanding, but I love Landry because if there's one thing Landry Locker is not afraid of, he's not afraid to call people out, and he's not afraid to fuck with people. He's not afraid of asking tough questions for the most part. But yeah, it was Paul that asked why he should be trusted as the head coach after going 0-3. It was such a great question. Cole also said Landry was like week 5 or something because he was there. I think we were both there. Let's get to this comment real fast because I do want to do top 5 quarterbacks before we move on to a little bit of baseball stuff. The Astros are playing right now. We'll give an Astros update once we move on to baseball. What were you going to say? Oh, no, they lost? They officially lost. Okay,
something happened at third base. That's all I know. I'm just trying to follow.
We'll give an Astros losing update. A bunch of freaking losers. And we'll talk about the outfield position, specifically Josh Reddick, in just a minute. But let's get to some of these comments. Admiral Flatplack.
What's up?
He wants to know who the tastiest quarterback is. So who's the tastiest quarterback? So I think that would be number 1 on my QB cutie pie rankings. And I really look.
I want to see where you're going with this before I answer, so go ahead.
Trevor Lawrence isn't in the league yet, so I can't say him, even though I really want to. He's still at Clemson, but I feel like I could throw that in there. I'm gonna have to say, man, Tom Brady is he's an oldie, but a cutie. You know what I mean? Really, honestly, I think I'm gonna have to say Jared Goff. Jared Goff, I think, is the tastiest quarterback. He's number 1 on my QB cutie pie rankings. He is one tasty piece.
We'll go 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
Trubisky.
Ooh, Homer Joe, showing his face.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, what? He looks. I guess maybe he's got that kind of like rugged, rustic look to him.
Time out.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh yeah, we're idiots. We're both dumb idiots. It's number 1's Jimmy Garoppolo.
You're more of an idiot because I remember.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm slightly more of an idiot. But yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo is obviously the tastiest quarterback. And clearly, but that's the thing. He's not a cutie pie. Like, he's above a cutie pie. And so, like, he's on his own list together. But he's definitely the tastiest quarterback.
I feel like when you, but does he get demoted ranks because of the porn star he went out with last year?
No, absolutely not. I feel like
she was not even like a top 5.
Yeah, it doesn't.
She was like a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, but he was confident enough to go after it and didn't even give a shit what people thought. So he goes up.
He broke up like a week after everyone found the photos.
Yeah, but I mean, he would have broken up with her a week after the photos anyway because he was just doing his time in Slumville. You know what I mean? Now, he would have gone down, had we found out it was a tranny, maybe go down a little bit. You know what I mean? But I think just a regular porn star is completely fine. Cole says it's got to be Josh Allen. He's just a giant kid. You think he's tasty because he looks like a kid? Cole, what are you saying right now? Let's move away from this because this conversation got real weird.
That's your show.
Talking about trannies and kids. Sean Bajani joining us. Thank you, Sean. I love you. I love you. I miss you. We need to get you and Sean on the show at the same time. Says Chirinos was thrown out at third to end the game, trying to stretch a double into a triple. What? Chirino's trying to stretch a double into a triple. That might be the lowest IQ baseball play I have heard. One of the lowest IQ baseball plays I've heard of any Astro trying to make at all this season. That's stupid. We'll dive into that in a second. But let's get to our top 5 quarterbacks. Let's talk about who we think our top 5 quarterbacks are in the NFL. Because I actually I'm stealing this conversation a little bit from Fred and AJ from the Blitz on 97.5, because I was listening to them coming in today, and AJ edged Drew Brees out of the top 5 for quarterbacks, and so it really made me think, like, who do I think the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL are, and I mean, there's a part of me, because I know he's got. It's hard for me to want to move Drew Brees out of the top 5. And I understand the argument. He was lower in yards, and he's got a lot more help. But of course his yards are going to be a little bit lower because he does have more help at the running back spot. He does have good receivers now. He has more offensive help. And so they don't need him to carry games as much. But at the same time, he threw 32 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions.
Yeah, and so, he still threw like 3,800 yards.
Right, exactly.
Like, he missed 4,000 yards by like just a little bit. So Drew Brees is not the quarterback that I've moved.
You do your top 5 first. Who are your top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL?
All right, so 1 is still Brady. For me, 2 is Mahomes.
Hold on, right? With Brady, I want to ask you this. With Brady, is it more of a respect thing because you legitimately because he's kind of earned that number 1 spot, and until he's dethroned, then he's number 1, or is it I legitimately think he's still the best quarterback in the league?
I think it's a little bit of both, because like they do run the ball a lot more. At least they did last year, and I think they're going to again with Sony Michel, especially without Gronk now. Mm-hmm. But just to me, like what he does year in and year out, how successful he is as a passer with nothing, like, Gronk injuries, Edelman suspensions, like it's just what they're going to do. Like immediately the impact that he had on Josh Gordon and Josh Gordon had on him, and like the 2 games they played together or whatever.
Right.
To me, it was so impressive. Like I'm really curious what they're going to look like this year. If Demaryius Thomas, he's practicing, I think already. If he plays at all, him and Josh Gordon, you put those guys with Edelman, like it's just – I still think he's the best quarterback. And at the end of the day, what matters the most is wins and losses. So he's winning the most games. So even though he plays in a trash division. So that's why Brady is still my number 1. And then with Mahomes at 2, it's not that I don't think he's great, but after Kareem Hunt was cut, that offense did take a step back. And I'm curious, like, what it's going to look like this year without a good run game. I still think he's a great quarterback, but I still think if you put Deshaun Watson in that offense, Deshaun does the same thing.
Yeah.
I think if you put Trubisky in that offense, Trubisky gets to like 3/4 of that. I think that's how good of a coach Andy Reid is. And if you put any quarterback with Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Kareem Hunt, like, the weapons you have are just incredible. So I think it's hard to judge Mahomes a little bit in that way. So Mahomes is my 2. So Brady, Mahomes. I have Russell Wilson as my 3rd best quarterback.
He's got to be in the top 5. Like,
yeah,
Russell Wilson might be this just perpetually the most underrated quarterback the NFL has ever seen.
Fact, 100%, totally agree. And then number 4 for me, it was Andrew Luck, but like I'm not going to put him in my top 5 because he's not on the field. Like, he played 1 season, and so you don't get to be in the top 5. Number 4 is where I have Drew Brees. And then for me, number 5, let's see. Who do I want to put at number 5?
Oh, there's one obvious answer. I'm so mad that you haven't said it.
What, Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
No.
Aaron Rodgers is still the most talented quarterback in the NFL. You're just, Homer Joe. Being mad at the Packer. Oh, Aaron Rodgers. He's just an okay guy.
I don't think it's that. I think Aaron is still like a top 6 quarterback.
My God. just the pure homerism shining through. I can't put him in the top 5.
Because he doesn't help his team. He doesn't make his teammates better.
He kind of does. The only reason they win games is because of him.
Yeah, but the only reason why everyone hates him in the NFL is because he's a douchebag.
Oh, my God.
Like, he can't get along with his coaches. He can't get along with this coach. Him on the floor are already button heads. Like, people think he's funny because he shows up with a porn stash and a Canadian tuxedo to play the Raiders in Canada tonight.
I think that's awesome.
I do too. I think he's a douchebag. And you know what? You cannot be a top 5 quarterback if you chug beer like a bitch. So Deshaun Watson, number 5. Rodgers, because of your beer chugging ability and because I hate you, 6.
Done. Homer Joe strikes again, baby. All right.
I didn't put Trubisky in the top 5.
I know, but you were damn close. Where do you have Trubisky?
I don't know, like 15th.
Oh, really? Middle of the pack? I'd have him a little bit closer. I was thinking more like 11th or 12th. I'd have to run through it, but
I think there's an argument for Phillip Rivers also over Aaron Rodgers.
Oh no! Come on, man. Yes. What has Phillip Rivers ever won, dude?
What has Aaron Rodgers won?
A Super Bowl.
A decade ago.
Okay, but he still won a Super Bowl. How many Super Bowls does Phillip Rivers have? Oh wait, a decade ago, Phillip Rivers was still choking in the playoffs.
He's got 8 kids though.
Oh, doesn't choke there. He has so many kids. Have you seen?
He can finish, just not in the game.
I'm gonna go use that with my wife tonight.
No.
Yeah. Look, I may not be what I once was, but I'm gonna Phillip Rivers you tonight, baby. Are
you ready for a third kid? Is that what you're saying, Josh?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. We'll see where things go tonight. Maybe that's how I ask her. Like, hey, you want to try for number 3? Like this. I was playing video games last night, and like some of the game that we were playing, some of the guys were like, "We're gonna go cave," and I was like, "Oh, that's how I'm gonna proposition Kara from now." I'm gonna be like, "Hey, you want to go cave tonight?" Oh, we're way off topic. Okay,
Does she like slap you in the face sometimes?
Oh, all the time.
For being an idiot?
All the time. I mean, most of the time, it's just her staring at me like, "Oh my God, what have I done?"
Yeah,
but
I don't get a lot of those yet. But like, I feel like they're coming. Like, I feel like day one of like January 19th. I feel like the looks are coming.
Yeah, they're definitely coming.
I feel like she's holding. I think Dana's holding back right now.
Oh, maybe until she locks you down.
Yeah, well, okay, she's locked down. Can we talk about weddings later and how expensive they are? And how
absolutely.
Much they suck?
We can absolutely talk. I'm so glad I avoided an expensive wedding.
Top 5 quarterbacks, Josh.
Oh, my top 5 quarterbacks. All right. Number 1 is Tom Brady, and I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I think it's more. It's like it's a combination of respect. Plus, I do think he still is really good. He's lost a little bit. He's not the same. Like, he's had some moments here and there over the last few seasons where he didn't look quite like Tom Brady, and then all of a sudden you give him the ball in the fourth quarter of a meaningful game, and he turns into Tom Brady. So it's a little bit of both. He's earned the number 1 spot, and until somebody just goes and takes it over, I think he deserves it. I'm not putting Patrick Mahomes at number 2, and okay. Maybe this is a little bit of the hater in me. And that it very well could be, but I do think it was a lot of he had a great offensive line. I think he's incredibly talented, but he did have a great offensive line. He had a lot of weapons, and that offense took a step back whenever Kareem Hunt was no longer with the offense, right? And so I'm not putting him at number 2. For me, number 2 of best quarterbacks in the NFL, this is going to sound crazy, but I really do think it's Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson's number 2. He is constantly and consistently one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and people underrate the shit out of him. He's the only reason the Seahawks are even remotely competitive. He's the only reason the Seahawks are going to be competitive again this year. The Legion of Boom went away. They lost a lot of their defense, although they've still got some defensive talent. But Russell Wilson is the reason why they're competitive, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Number 3, I'm going to put Patrick Mahomes at number 3. Okay. So he's my 3rd quarterback. And so it's just a small drop-off. I don't know. I mean, is he going to go out and throw 50 touchdowns again this year? Probably not. He might have a sophomore slump, and maybe he peaked in his rookie season. I don't necessarily think he did. But, I mean, even 80% or 85% of Patrick Mahomes in his rookie season is still a top 5 quarterback in this league. He's incredibly talented no matter what he had to throw to. But, man, he's so good. He's got to stay in the top 3. Number 4 for me is Aaron Rodgers. I am not a Bears fan, so obviously I put Aaron Rodgers in the top 5. Look.
He's going to miss the playoffs for the 3rd year in a row.
Aaron Rodgers is absolutely a douchebag. Aaron Rodgers is probably one of the worst people in the world. And my friend Brad Drews would love you for saying that Aaron Rodgers is not a good quarterback. Coincidentally, he is also a Bears fan. I just want to point that out. But But Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers. He still does things with his feet that the majority of quarterbacks in the NFL can't do, even though he's a little bit older. He still has just this insanely strong and accurate arm that no other, really hardly any other quarterback in the league has. I mean, Patrick Mahomes showed that. I think Russell Wilson does have that, but Aaron Rodgers has this combination of power and accuracy that you just don't see from anybody else. And number 5 for me, I can't believe I'm going to say this, and maybe this is a little bit of homerism for me, but I think number 5 is Deshaun Watson. I really do. I think Deshaun Watson is the 5th best quarterback in this league. I love Drew Brees. I love Matt Ryan. I love Ben Roethlisberger, and I mean, I don't love them. They're okay. They're all right guys. But Deshaun Watson, the things that he did on the field last year behind the worst offensive line in the NFL, and if Will Fuller stays healthy for the entire season, it's a neck and neck race between Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson for best quarterback in the league. And if Will Fuller, I mean, this is all contingent on weapons. This is all contingent on what they have to work with. If Will Fuller and Kiki QT stay healthy, they've got Duke Johnson in the fold now with Lamar Miller. I really, really do think that Deshaun Watson is a top 5 quarterback. He's definitely a top 5 talent. It's just, can the offensive line block enough? Can Bill O'Brien pull his head out of his ass and get Matt Khalil out of the starting left tackle spot? And can his weapons stay healthy enough for him to utilize to be one of the to utilize all of his talent to be one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league statistically, and then take the Texans to a playoff run? I think they can make a playoff run. I don't know if Andrew Luck is obviously at least number 5 or somewhere in the top 5 if I trust his health. I just don't trust his health, so I can't put him in there. Like, he's definitely top 3. Yeah, he's absolutely top 3, but I don't trust it. So for me, number 5 is Deshaun Watson.
So the thing with Andrew Luck is, like, okay, would you rather have Bill O'Brien or what the Colts are doing? Well, like, they're just blatantly lying to the media for the last, like, 3 years with Andrew Luck, because it was like, oh, he's throwing a football. He was throwing a high school football. Oh, he has an ankle sprain, or he has a calf sprain. Now it's a high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
See him doing drills. Is he going to be ready week 1? Like, they're worse because they're feeding, like, false information.
Yeah,
like,
and false hope.
At least Bill O'Brien is just not answering the questions. The Colts organization, they lie to their fan base. Like, they lie to the media members. They lie to their fan base about where Andrew has been the last 2-3 years. And honestly, they probably did some of this with Peyton and his neck.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't seem like, when you think back about Peyton Manning and the neck injury that kept him out for a season, it never really felt like I don't remember transparency from this organization. I was like, honestly, like, I'd rather deal with the Texans. Like, I think what the Colts are doing, like, is ridiculous.
So,
and, like, some of that was like the Ryan Grigson era, but they just lie to everyone.
So you're essentially asking me right now, like, this is the choice that you're giving me. You're asking me right now, would you rather be completely coherent when I cut your dick off, or would you rather be drugged up when I cut your dick off? Either way, your dick's getting cut off and things are bad. I would honestly rather be drugged up. Like, to me, I would honestly give me the false hope, make me feel good about things, and then I'll get sad later. But I don't want to just sit here going into a season. Look, I guess this is coming from an Aggie fan, so I'm used to having this unfounded false hope about what a football team is going to be for a season, right? So, like, I'm just used to this. Oh my God, we're a number 11 or number 12, and we have a chance. When we don't actually have a chance, we're going to lose 5 games, and we're going to make some shitty bowl that nobody cares about, right? We're going to go 7-5. But I'm used to that. It's like, let's go into each season with this newfound hope, and then my dreams can be shattered 6 or 7 games into the season. That's kind of what I want with my NFL teams too. That's kind of what I went through as a Cowboys fan as well. Bill, let me have my false hopes and dreams, and then they could be shattered later on. But at least give me a few weeks of just absolute bliss and thinking that my team is going to do something. So look, I'd rather be drugged up when you cut my dick off. I don't want to be wide awake. So my answer is I'd rather have the Colts pretending to give me information and lying to me than I would Bill O'Brien treating me like a dick.
Okay.
Would absolutely choose that.
That's fair.
Moving on from NFL, let's move into some baseball stuff.
Sorry, Josh.
Huh? What are you doing?
I got my
Are you getting phone calls?
Drunk phone calls, probably.
You're getting random phone calls. Look, I understand you're an important guy, Joe George, and you're the producer for. Oh no, we lost Joe. But look, I'm trying to run a show here. What is happening now? I'm trying to run a show, and you're doing a bunch of nonsense. What?
He's called me 5 times.
Let's just answer it. Let's do this. Next time he calls.
Because there's a chance that there is like secret information on this call that I cannot have.
Yeah, then
because,
don't answer
put it this way. It's a guy that I'm probably doing a podcast with, but he's waiting to find out if he's getting an XFL tryout or going to get drafted in the XFL right now.
Oh shit.
So she might be calling me to celebrate.
Speaking of which, the XFL teams were announced.
Yeah.
Look, we planned that segue the whole time. It was all planned.
Great. I apologize to however many listeners you have. I don't know.
It's like, I don't know. It's a few. We got like 8 people. It's fine. The YouTube video is probably going to have like 130 people seeing Joe George act like he's. Well, you know what? You know what you're doing to me right now? You're big timing me. That's what you're doing. You think you're a fancy Sports Talk 790 producer, and you're so busy you got to take phone calls all the time, so you're big timing me on my YouTube show. Well, fine, Joe. Have it your way. Let's move into baseball. Okay. Josh Reddick has not been doing hot the second half of the season. I think I saw that he's been batting, I think it's like 189. His average has been about 189, like in the high 180s the second half of the season. And I'm hearing a lot of people say, let's move on from Josh Reddick. Let's get rid of Josh Reddick. Josh Reddick is done. We need to bring in Kyle Tucker, or we can play Yordan. Yep. Or I saw the Yordan Aledmus Diaz, but obviously that's not going to work exactly the way it needs to now. Or more Jake Marisnick. It could be Yordan and Marisnick, and then move Brantley over to there's so many things that you can do to alleviate the Josh Reddick issue. And I want to address one specifically. I want to address the Josh Reddick and Kyle Tucker thing. I have a hard time definitively saying yes to that. Now I know Kyle Tucker is supposed to be this amazing talent, and everybody loves him, and everybody's waiting for Kyle Tucker to come and just start raking it in the big leagues. But last year's experiment didn't work out. What terrifies me even more, I think, is the fact that Kyle Tucker hasn't been batting well in AAA. And apparently in a year where everybody, like the averages and the batting in AAA, everybody's been amazing. And he hasn't been doing particularly great. And so it might be a step up from Josh Reddick, but to me that's too much of an unknown to just say, yeah, get rid of Reddick and bring in Kyle Tucker, because the Astros are about to make a push for a World Series. And honestly, for me, I would much rather have a guy who has World Series, playoff, and big game experience offensively and defensively than a young dude who hasn't even found a way to put it together in AAA. And so
Kyle's coming up in September.
Yeah, he's definitely coming up. That's for sure.
That's what Luno said today.
Yeah.
On 790, that Kyle is like most likely coming up in September. I agree with you. I think Josh is gonna get out of the slump, but like it's weird that he didn't start tonight, because it was his bobblehead night and Ric Flair was there.
Yeah, and he didn't get to start at all.
Which is like, that's concerning. Like, playing on your own bobblehead night seems like a given.
Right.
And like, you're not even getting that opportunity. There's definitely some concern, but like, I don't know. This is where I think the Tony Kemp one like hurts the team, because if you still were able to have Tony on the team, then like you probably would feel better about it. But like right now, like I don't see Josh. If Josh Reddick continues this trajectory, I wouldn't be shocked if he just doesn't make the playoff roster, at least in the first round. Or it's going to depend on matchups on which series. Like if you're going against a lot of lefties or righties, Josh Reddick might be the guy that they take off the playoff roster in favor of someone like Miles Straw, who at least he brings you dynamic speed at the end of the game. So I know Chirinos was trying to go into a triple tonight when he got thrown out, but let's say Chirinos is on second. You know, you can put Miles Straw in on second base when you've got a better hitter coming up that all they need to do is get a ground ball through the middle and you've got a game-winning run or a game-tying run, like that's where if Josh isn't going to play great on offense, that's the help. But he's also playing great defense. Like
he's playing great defense. He always does.
Spectacular plays. So Josh can also just be that guy in the playoffs where he's got some good speed on him. He can just be a defensive replacement in the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning when really you're up by 3 runs against the Yankees, and that's all you have to worry about is protecting the lead. So I don't know what they're going to do with Reddick. It's going to be interesting, though.
Did you ever see a world where Josh Reddick and Jake Marisnick would essentially swap roles, where one goes from being a defensive specialist that can't hit to save his life to being a guy that they can actually rely on at the plate, and vice versa? I never thought in a million years that I would say that I trust Jake Marisnick more offensively than I do Josh Reddick. And so if for some reason, like, to me, if they're going to, if Josh Reddick doesn't make the playoff roster, then it makes way more sense to do a Marisnick-Jordan thing and just play Marisnick more, and then you could have Brantley at left and Springer at right with Marisnick in center. And then when Jordan plays, Jordan's at left, Brantley at right, Springer in center. And do something like that rather and Tucker's going to be in there somewhere. I
don't think he'll be on the playoff roster.
You don't think he'll be on the playoff roster? That's good.
No,
good. Just get him some game time in the regular season, and then keep him off the playoff roster.
That I think he's only coming up for relief. And honestly, like, if they don't have home field advantage at that point, and they're still in contention with the Yankees and the Dodgers for AL and NL home field advantage, I don't think you're going to see like the traditional, like, hey, we're going to have Kyle Tucker play 3 days in a row,
right,
and extra rest days. If they're still in the thick of it, I think it's just going to be business as usual for this team. Like, I don't think they're going to change a lot, especially with Correa being down for who knows how long now.
Oh my God, I
don't even know what to say.
He's so incredibly talented. Look, that throw he made the other night on the double play where the other day where Bregman bobbled the ball and got it to him, and he just fucking rockets it into Yuli Gurriel's glove, which great stretch by Yuli, by the way. But there are very few guys in the league that can throw the ball like that and get that and make that double play happen. But my God, it's just you can't put that much money on a guy that can't stay healthy, that can't play a complete season. And even when he does, he doesn't play up to the level that you want him to. He's the most fragile player in the entire world.
Yeah, but he's been he's still but there's still moments, Josh, where like you watch him play and you're like, this guy's the next A-Rod.
He's incredible, right? Like, he's got a great glove. He's got a great arm. He's been awesome at the plate, but he can't stay healthy.
So I think at this point, like, Jeff Blum was on with Clanton and Wex today, and he just said straight up, he's like, you can say that, like, this is taking millions of dollars off of his salary.
Yeah.
And I think we're closer now to a Correa trade than ever before. Like, if you're a team that has some good young players that, like, where, like, they're still prospects, but they're young, I still think there's a reasonable possibility that Correa is traded within the next 2 years. And if not before, like, I mean, who knows what's going to happen this offseason? Like, if the Astros don't think he's healthy, but they still have that value, like, you know that Jeff Luhnow is going to know the moment in time when Carlos Correa really loses his value.
Yeah.
Because if you ask any struggling team with top prospects or a team that's close, like, let's use the White Sox as an example. The White Sox think they're a playoff contender next year and a World Series contender the year after that. They have a ton of great pitching prospects, a ton of young pitching prospects, and young guys in the outfield like Luis Robert. Like, if the Astros called them this offseason and said, hey, what would you give for Correa? You think a team like that's going to be like, oh, he's injury prone? They don't care.
No.
He's one of the best players in baseball when he's healthy.
You just see the talent.
Yeah, but there's a point in time when you're looking at like a graph chart and like you hit your peak, and then because of the injuries and because your salary is getting closer, your value goes down. Luhnow knows what that moment is. He's probably got it already made up in his mind of like, hey, this is when we got to move on.
Yeah.
Because Alex Bregman can be your everyday shortstop. In reality, I think Yordan Alvarez makes this a problem. Is where I think the real problem is with the Astros. If Yordan was not as good as he has been, and as good as he's apparently going to be, which is a monster,
right?
I would just suggest moving Correa to DH full time.
Oh yeah.
and just being like, well, you can't stay healthy, so you're just gonna bat, and like you're gonna play, you're gonna play infield when we need you. You're gonna play shortstop when we play National League teams, but besides that, you're gonna be the DH. But Yordan Alvarez completely stops it, and I know that sounds ludicrous if you're like Carlos Correa is the DH, but if you can't stay healthy, I wouldn't have been against it.
Right.
But that's not a solution anymore.
No.
So I think we're closer to Carlos getting traded than we are a contract at this point.
Man, I don't doubt it, and I'm right there with you. Like if you're Jeff Luhnow, when's like how many more injuries before you're just like I can't anymore?
I would
can't.
look at this offseason.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would too.
Look, because there are teams out there that would look at a guy like Carlos Correa and just be like, the value that he brings would be incredible to our organization from an offensive and defensive standard. And we don't care that he's going to miss 60 games. If you get 100 games out of Carlos Correa, he's going to take a B- team and make you a B+ to A- team, even if he only plays 100 games. So depending on what happens with Garrett Cole, which my assumption is he's long gone.
I'm pretty sure everybody thinks he's long gone at this point.
Yeah, he will not be an Astro next season because I know they're spending money, but they're not going to have $90 million tied up in Verlander, Greinke, and Cole. Like, it's just not realistic, especially when there's still hope about you got McCullers coming back. You're hoping that Forrest Whitley turns it around, which he sort of has recently. So, like, Garrett Cole's gone. Like, please get them a World Series and then he'll leave. But who knows? You might be able to keep Garrett Cole if you're willing to trade Carlos Correa. Like, that's a reality of the situation too, is that the reason why you have to trade, you can't keep Garrett Cole is because you've probably got $25 to $40 million, somewhere in that range, allocated to Carlos Correa's contract.
Right.
You move on from Carlos Correa and get young players that are 6 years plus of control left, who are either in the majors or still in the minors. You could keep Garrett Cole. So they have tons of options. So I think they'll field calls this summer, in all honesty, and they'll consider moving him. But the best part about the Astros, Josh, and this is why they're so much better than the Rockets, than the Texans, any organization in Major League Baseball, is that Ludo could call all 30 teams, or all 29 other teams, but he knows the exact value that he wants, and he won't make a bad trade. Like, he's not going to call like the Cubs and be like, I want Kyle Hendricks. No, he's going to want Javi Baez.
Right.
Like, he's going to call teams. He's going to call the Braves and be like, I want Freddie Freeman. Like, it's not going to be some minor trade.
And he's going to get it because he's got Jedi mind tricks, and he's sold his soul to the devil to become the trade master of all professional sports. Honestly, what he'll probably do is he'll find a way to trade Carlos Correa for a player that he wants and LeBron James to the Rockets. Like, I don't know how he's going to make it happen, but he's going to find a way to make that happen. Did you say pass?
Dude, could you imagine Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and LeBron James?
It'd be the most selfish basketball we've ever seen. I don't know. Maybe it works. Who knows? You'd sell fucking tickets.
I think this is going to work.
No, you know what? He's just going to trade for LeBron James, and he's going to put LeBron James in the outfield. I
think part of the reason why Bill O'Brien's definitely going to get fired this year is because the Rockets and the Astros are going to win championships.
Oh, God, that'd be so beautiful.
And the Texans are going to miss the playoffs.
How do you think?
Everyone's going to be looking at them and being like, what the hell's wrong with you?
If they miss the playoffs, to me, it was already going to be bad enough if they missed the playoffs. I think it was on with Bajani. I had Bajani on about a month ago, and I said if they go worse than 9-7, then I'm firing Bill O'Brien. Like me mentally, I'm gonna do a citizen's firing of Bill O'Brien if it's 9-7. If he's worse than 9-7, but like if they don't make the playoffs with an injured Andrew Luck, then I don't care what his record is. If they miss the playoffs with Andrew Luck injured, then I'm fucking done with him. Like, if somehow the Titans jump them for the AFC South with the Colts being shit without Andrew Luck, I'm done with Bill O'Brien. I'm done because then a guy that could be the head coach of the team would have surpassed him with Marcus Mariota. What if
are we on the same page that we think Nick Foles is going to be bad in Jacksonville?
Man, I don't know yet. I want to see it.
That's where my thing with the Texans is that if they miss the playoffs this year, they have a really tough schedule. If Nick Foles is good and Andrew Luck is healthy, and they miss the playoffs, I'm not saying I'm going to give them a pass, but it's a tough division. Like, the Titans are still an average football team. So I do see a scenario where, like, they miss the playoffs and they go, like, 9-7, but you look back at the season and you're just like, yeah, it didn't go our way. Like, I do think is a realistic possibility that happens. Like, that's how I feel about the Bears this year.
Right.
Like, I think the Bears are going to the Super Bowl, and I'm not a homer. I just think they're that good, and the additions they've made on offense and the improvements that Trubisky.
Who do you think is going to the Super Bowl?
The Bears.
The who?
The Bears.
Where are they from?
Chicago.
Where are you from?
Hey, Josh, remember last year on the Bull Rush when I told you and Jeremy the Bears were going to make the playoffs and you both laughed at me?
Yeah, I remember that.
And then I told you they were going to win the division and you both laughed at me?
Yeah, I remember that too, yeah.
And that was before the Khalil Mack trade?
That was before the Khalil Mack trade, yes. That absolutely was. You know what? Screw you, you bastard. Mitchell Trubisky was better than I thought. Khalil Mack was an absolute monster.
You know why I go to the Super Bowl this year? If it happens? David Montgomery, the running back out of Iowa State.
You know what? I actually think he's pretty damn good.
If him, Mike Davis, Tariq Cohen, they're calling him Run DMC, love the nickname.
I hate it. Hate that.
That's so good, Josh.
That's bad. That's terrible.
No, it's not.
That's such a terrible nickname. Be more creative.
Why?
Call him Devil May Cry because the acronym for that is DMC.
Oh, a trash band?
No, it's not a trash band. It's a game. You've never played the Devil May Cry games? Worst.
It's clearly
worst
not
guest
relevant.
I've ever had on the entirety of the Wasted Talent podcast show thing. Worst guest I've ever had.
I know that's factually incorrect.
It is actually factually incorrect.
As Daryl Morey would say, that is factually incorrect.
You know what? One more question because I want to get into the Spider-Man thing for a second. But one more question, and I forgot to ask you this earlier when we were talking about the top QBs in the NFL. This is a football-related question.
Okay.
Specifically at the quarterback position, who do you think is going to be the surprise quarterback of 2019?
Ooh, Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. Man, I did not see you going there. I honestly, 45% of me thought you would say Mitchell Trubisky. And then 55% of me thought you might say something legitimate. But I did not see Josh Allen coming. Why?
See, I think Trubisky, I know he has his faults. And, like, people like to really pinpoint certain plays where he tries to go left and the throws are really bad.
Right.
To me, like, the last drive of the Eagles game before Cody Parkey double doinked, where he hit two incredible passes to Allen Robinson.
He did.
If you go back and look at that drive, if you look at what he did at North Carolina and his bright spots, that drive encapsulated that. What you have, to me, with Matt Nagy is a super genius offensive coordinator, head coach.
Oh, my God.
And Trubisky was not ready to run the offense. And he only started 11 games in college. So I think people are overly critical for Trubisky because the Bears traded up for him. Was it the wrong draft pick? Absolutely. Should it have been Watson or Mahomes? 100%.
Yeah.
Did they get snaked on the trade? No, because the 49ers players they got in return suck or are cut.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that at all.
So
I think Trubisky was the right pick for them, and I do think he's a good quarterback.
I do too.
Yeah.
And look, at the time, like, I don't think that many people questioned it because Deshaun has 2 torn ACLs, and you're a liar if you told me you saw 50 touchdowns out of Patrick Mahomes.
No, dude, no, not even a little bit. I was like, oh, Patrick Mahomes, like, he's okay. He's gonna be okay, but Jesus Christ, that's a reach. Which that seems like the dumbest opinion in the world.
Dude, everyone had it. But Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen's got a cannon for an arm. I think he's super athletic. I think Josh Allen, when you look at the end of the season, to me, he's going to be right behind Lamar Jackson in rushing yards. He's not going to be that far behind. And I think with what they've done on offense, I think they've got something in Buffalo.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're a playoff team. I mean, they just were a playoff team, and then last year was awful. But if they're if they're competent this year, they could be second in that division. They could push for a wild card. And I think Josh Allen, like you saw the jump with Goff and those guys, I think he's going to take that jump this year. And at least until it snows in Buffalo, is going to be a monster.
Yeah, I don't think that's a terrible pick. I like that one because it's a ballsy pick.
Who's the worst quarterback this year?
Well, hold on. I want to get to a couple of comments. My Uncle Philip said Baker Mayfield. I won't, Baker Mayfield's going to be great, but I don't think it's a surprise to anybody.
I think it's going to be a mess.
You think he's going to be a mess? I don't know. I think he's going to be really good. I think he is a mess off the field a little bit, and I kind of love it. But on the field, he wasn't bad last year. He wasn't great. Like if somebody looked up the rookie, like the advanced, I think it was Paul was having it was Texans Cap on Twitter was having interactions with Paul about the Baker Mayfield versus Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott's rookie stats, and especially his advanced passing stats his rookie season, were like markedly better than Baker Mayfield's. And everybody's talking about Baker Mayfield as this next coming. Well, to me, Baker Mayfield's success this season isn't going to be completely all Baker Mayfield. I think it's going to be a little bit of the Patrick Mahomes syndrome where he's got Nick Chubb, he's got Kareem Hunt, he's got Jarvis Landry, he's got Odell Beckham Jr., he's got a good offensive line. Like, he's a talented quarterback that has a lot of talent around him. But I wouldn't put him as, like, that's not a surprise to me. Eric Villa. Go ahead.
Just because, like, NFL.com had their top 10 quarterbacks and they had him at number 10, which I think that's outrageous right now.
You think that's too high or too low?
I think it's too high for me.
That's like, too high? I'd put him right in that 10 range. I think.
Like, for me, like, he went 500 last year. He threw, 5 picks against the Texans. Like, I think he's just
bad picks, too.
Yeah, and that's where I'm like, I don't know. Like, I love Baker. I'm a huge Baker guy. Like, I love Baker Mayfield. I'm all in on everything he's doing. But I don't think he's there yet.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but, like, I think he's going to take a step back. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they will. I don't
like Freddie Kitchens. That's probably my problem.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. I think it's definitely going to be interesting watching the Browns because I can't say one way or another. They've been a mess for so long. It's hard to trust that team. Like I don't care how much talent they have, but they are loaded with talent. And for the first season in 3 years, I am not going to say anything about Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett has earned every ounce. I have all the crow that ever has deserved to be eaten in the world. I should be eating it still right now. Myles Garrett is great.
Can I tell you why I know he's great and why I'm terrified of the left tackle position for the Texans?
Why?
I was playing an online matchup in Madden.
Of course you were, yeah.
Great way to do this.
This is how millennials gauge NFL talent off of Madden.
Like, I was playing with the Browns and I was playing against the Texans and I got 7 sacks with Myles Garrett.
Fuck. Oh, shit.
Because Matt Cole is so bad in the game. And that's when I was like, oh, this is bad. It's not good.
A couple of comments by Eric Villa on YouTube. He says too many egos on that team for the Browns. I mean, maybe that's something too. Maybe there's a few too many egos. Like how is Baker Mayfield's personality? Like if they face any kind of hardship or they lose a couple of games in a row, how is Odell Beckham Jr. or like how are the personalities of Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield going to mesh? Like how they're two alphas. How is that going to work? He also said his pick for surprise QB of the season is Daniel Jones, the New York Giants quarterback. I mean, it's not a bad pick. He looked okay. He's looked okay in the preseason, so it's not a bad pick. I just like I can't say that about a rookie. My pick for surprise quarterback, Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold is going to surprise a lot of people, and I know I had a conversation with somebody today. I'm in the league with you, B Mac, and Kyle King, and it's a 2-keeper league, and the 3 players I had on my fantasy team were Julio Jones, Saquon Barkley, and Le'Veon Bell, and I was trying to decide between 2 of those keepers, and there was a part of this like I kind of wanted to keep. Obviously, Saquon Barkley, I'm keeping him. Don't worry, Joe, you're not going to have a chance at him. But I honestly sat there and questioned for a second, should I just automatically take Julio Jones or should I consider Le'Veon Bell? Like that, but the Jets don't have anything. They're going to have to go to him a lot. I know he sat out for a year, but he's still an incredibly talented guy. That's a year less of wear and tear on his body. And I think Sam Darnold's going to be a pretty damn good quarterback. And I know they don't have a lot else at the receiver spot, so it might be a little bit tough, but I think Sam Darnold's going to surprise a lot of people, and having Le'Veon Bell catching the ball out of the backfield and just running the ball in general is going to help them a lot. And like people can say all they want, you can load the box against the Jets. We can't really do that because Le'Veon Bell is so good catching out of the backfield. So you can start to load the box, and then Adam Gase can just have him slip out real fast and catch a pass, and then you're fucked. So
that lunatic.
Huh? Yeah, dude, he really is a lunatic.
Hey,
But
so I can't see your face right now. So have you decided who your keepers are? Or are you still not sure?
in that league, I went with Saquon Barkley and Julio Jones.
Okay, so just on a side note, after the podcast, let's work out a trade so I can have Le'Veon. Because my team sucks.
Are we colluding? Are we colluding on my show right now?
No,
I would love.
I'm
You're supposed to say yes, and now I'm not going to trade. I love collusion. I'm all about it.
No, I was going to tell you, you can't even keep 2 running backs in this league. It's so dumb.
Oh, you can't?
No, BMAX sent out in the email that you can only keep 1 guy per position. So you can't keep 2 running backs or 2 wide receivers.
I'm going to do it anyway now because he told me I can't. Like, obviously I have to, right? Look, really, honestly, like, BMAX shouldn't have let me in this league, if I'm being completely honest.
Can I ask you one more question about this league?
Yeah, go ahead.
I've got to work till 1 o'clock when the draft starts. Will you draft for me until I get there?
I was actually going to ask you to do the same thing because I have an event for work and I don't know how late I'm going to be. So, like, I might have to draft on the phone or some shit like that for a while. But yeah, I'll draft for you on the phone.
That's what I'm going to be doing. I'll be driving at like 45. Like, who can I take?
Number one pick overall for Joe's team. Let's go Kevin Johnson as his defensive back. Hey, Kevin Johnson had a pick in the preseason, man. You never know.
He's going to have a concussion by week 2.
But, dude, before week 2. It was a concussion on the very first play of last season in week 1.
I was trying to give him some time.
Yeah, don't give him time.
Come on.
He's
give him 2 weeks.
No, he's going to get injured even faster. He's going to get a concussion during warm-ups of week 1.
No, he's not. He's going to be a Pro Bowler.
No, he's not. Not at all.
Because Texans fans will just hate themselves.
We've been going for – actually, this might be the longest show that I've done so far, and it has felt like the shortest. So
because part 2 is on 26 minutes because I hung up on you.
Oh yeah, that's true. You did hang up on me, and you're so fucking popular. You had people calling you during the show. So hey, what the fuck is going on with Spider-Man? Did you see all this stuff about Spider-Man? Because you and I, that was one thing I loved. Is like I could come to the station, and you were the one person that I got to talk all things nerd with. So all Marvel stuff, all Game of Thrones stuff. Like Jeremy and Sean don't watch those things because they're boring and old, and so I mostly just got to talk. And Derek didn't talk about that stuff either, or didn't like that stuff either. So I just got to talk with you about it. So like, Disney and Sony are trying to work out a deal to keep Spider-Man going, to co-produce it. And I guess Fox didn't like the terms of the deal, so like a petulant little child, they took their ball and they went home. And now Spider-Man's been pulled out of the MCU. It's ruined Phase 4 because Phase 4 was probably going to be heavy Spider-Man. There's no way it wasn't going to be. Apparently Deadline was maybe a little bit too ahead of themselves on reporting that the deal was dead, and apparently it can be salvaged now. But who do you think is more at fault for this? Do you think it's more Disney or it's more Sony?
I think it's 50-50 because when you look at this, so like Disney wanted reportedly a 50-50 split in revenue. Well, it was just $1 billion movie, so of course they're going to be greedy.
I think that's fair. I think a 50-50 split is fair. I'm being honest.
But here's the thing. The MCU changed in Civil War. When Spider-Man jumps in and takes Captain America's shield, everything changed. Yeah. And if you look at these last movies since Civil War, they're not the same without Spider-Man.
No.
Sony did do Marvel a huge favor by allowing this to happen. If you just – and now, like – and see, here's the thing. Marvel has to get this done. But it seems like the other main issue is that Kevin Feige doesn't want to be the producer.
No.
Because he's going to be doing most of the Disney Plus stuff. Mm-hmm. And here's my prediction. Tom Holland's going to walk. And they're going to – Oh,
man.
Tom Holland's going to threaten to walk, and Sony's going to have to cave. And it's going to end up being like a 60-40 or 70-30 split where Sony is still in control, and I think they're going to force Tom Hardy and Venom into the MCU.
Which apparently, apparently Kevin Feige wanted to be a part of that, like wanted to be a co-producer and help do that, and Sony said no on that. And like Disney's not like Disney has a monopoly on superheroes almost, right? Like they've got all the Fox properties, they have all their MCU properties, and so I mean, like I know a lot of people are like, well, this keeps them from having the monopoly. And yes, Sony did do Disney a favor by letting them have Spider-Man, but Disney and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're the ones that made that compelling Spider-Man. They wrote that compelling Spider-Man. They built that story around that compelling character. And it's not like Sony they literally just gave them the costume and the rights. But the MCU is the first to actually build a truly emotionally jarring and compelling Spider-Man. My favorite, look, the first Spider-Man movie was cool because it was the first time we see Spider-Man on film. And then the second iteration of Spider-Man, when they tried to do it, it was okay, it wasn't great. But my favorite moments of Spider-Man from any live action movie is hands down it's all Tom Holland. It's all MCU Spider-Man. It's my favorite moments from that superhero, the most memorable moments from that superhero, the funniest, the scariest, the most emotional, they're all from MCU Spider-Man. And the MCU built that with the rights that Sony gave them, yes, but the MCU built the character. To be honest, I think that Disney was being pretty kind by like saying, hey, let's do a 50-50 split. If we're being honest, Spider-Man isn't shit, and Sony has no rights, and they're getting no money off of Spider-Man. If they're getting some stuff off of Into the Spider-Verse, but they're really doing nothing with the Spider-Man character at all. They're getting no money from him if the MCU and Disney weren't a part of it. So to me, if I'm Sony, I'm like, thank you for doing 50-50. You rebuilt this, we can all make money. But no, instead corporate greed has to take control, so all of us fans who love this character get fucked at the end of the day. It's bullshit.
I agree. And honestly, I think this is going to kill the MCU.
I think so too.
I think Phase 4 is really weak, in my opinion. Like, there's not a lot of movies that I'm interested in. I'm not that interested in the Eternals. I really don't want to, I don't know what the name of the movie is, but the Chinese superhero. Shang Li? Nope.
So I know what you're talking about. I actually I've read up on the character. I don't know much about him, but it seems pretty cool. I think the Eternals is going to be pretty cool. It's just like the Eternals is kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. Nobody really knew anything about the Guardians of the Galaxy before the movie came out, and then the movie came out and you're like, oh, this is pretty cool. The Eternals is kind of the same way. It's a little weirder. But I'm really not that smitten by Phase 4. Like, I don't want to see fucking what's her face as Thor. I don't care about having a female Thor, but I don't want to see her as Thor. Like, it's just stupid. And the fact that we don't get Guardians 3 in this phase kind of pisses me off, which means we don't get Guardians 3 until 2023. Like, there's just not a lot that really pulls me. To be honest, I think they're doing it on purpose. Yeah, I think they are too. I think this feels like they want to get money while they reset, and they're trying to buy themselves time. And I know they weren't going to do this because at the end of the day, they're corporations and they're greedy and they want to make money. But the MCU should have ended after Endgame. With the death of Iron Man and the departure of Captain America, it should have ended, and then you just do Disney Plus TV shows. That would be a lot of fun and really cool. I thought the same thing until I saw the new Spider-Man. And then Far From Home, it changed everything. But see... Yeah, that's fair. I haven't seen Far From Home yet. I think Phase 4 is going to mostly be kind of let's let kind of the hype die down a little bit. Right. Let's make as much money as we can. And then now they're saying, I saw a story today, that Black Panther 2 will be the first movie in Phase 5. So to me... Phase 5, it better be crazy. Because in Phase 5, you're going to have Black Panther. Phase 4 is going to end with Fantastic Four. It's going to have Blade in it, right? Mm-hmm. And then Phase 5 is going to have, hopefully by that time, another Spider-Man, a new Avengers, Black Panther, Captain Marvel 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And so it's I feel like we're just going to get this little break from these big movies. And it's hey, we're going to make as much money as we can. We're going to take our money from the suckers that just will watch anything we do. Shut up. And then we're going to go into I'm one of those suckers. Yeah, we both are. I don't know half these movies and half these characters that are coming out, and I'm going to go see every single one of them. And I'm probably going to pay for Disney Plus just so I can have access to the shows. And then we're going to go see them together, and then you're going to come on, and we're going to talk about them. We'll see. Fuck you, asshole. we were supposed to go see one of these movies together. We talked about going to see something, Infinity War, Endgame, something we talked about going to see, and it just never happened. And then did I screw you over? Look, here's what happens. I tell people things, and then I decide not to do them, or things come up.
To be fair, like we've talked about this podcast for like a month about me coming on.
Yeah, and who's the one that keeps not being able to come on because they forget their computer at work? Or because they have work.
This podcast was supposed to be Saturday, and I came on tonight.
Was it? How was it supposed to be on Saturday?
Because I was going to bring Madden over.
Oh, shit. I forgot about that. Yeah, I'm the worst, man. I'm real bad.
We can still do that.
We can still absolutely do that. So, I'm not doing anything on Saturday.
I have to go.
Yeah, I do too.
But you kept tweeting that you're gonna get sad Cubs fan on, so I'm gonna give you.
Give me sad Cubs fan.
Not sad. I hate the bullpen. Chris Bryant just hit a 2-run homer, and they're leading 12-11 in the bottom of the 8th. And sad Cubs fan doesn't exist anymore. After the World Series, look, Joe Maddon has put them in the playoffs 4 years in a row, soon to be 5.
Yeah.
I can't be sad.
How'd you feel about that Bryce Harper walk-off the other night?
I mean, that hurt my soul. and then the walk-off home run they gave up the next night hurt my soul a little bit more. So like they can still kill me on the inside, but like
there's not a perpetual sadness.
No, it's not like when they were losing 100 games in a row, or like Steve Bartman. It's not that anymore. I still think the Cubs can go to the World Series this year and lose because they won't win.
Right.
No one from the National League is going to win the World Series. It's going to be
the Astros.
The Yankees or the Astros are going to win the World Series.
The ALCS is going to be fucking
honestly,
crazy.
If the Yankees get to the World Series, I could see the Cubs or the Dodgers still winning. Yeah. Because their pitching sucks. But if the Astros get there, the National League has no chance.
Right.
But honestly, if the Cubs can get in and avoid the wild card game, I think they can. I think Atlanta's fraudulent still, and the Dodgers choke. Like I don't think it's the Dodgers' time. And Nick Castellanos has his third day in a row. He has a home run in the first 3 innings. Like it's a monster pickup for the Cubs.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Darvish got smoked today, but he went like 5 starts in a row without giving up a walk. He's been unreal, like best Darvish since Texas. It's
been a long time.
Yep. I can still be a little sad, but overall, the only thing that makes me sad right now, and maybe this is why, Josh, what makes me sad is Bears kickers. like watching Carly Lloyd watching her drill a 55-yard field goal with the Eagles at practice, and my first thought was maybe the Bears should be the first NFL team to sign a female kicker.
Why not?
Because these guys all suck. If the Bears miss the playoffs this year, it's because of a kicker.
Oh, absolutely. Hands down. So are you more sad Bears fan than you are a sad Cubs fan?
Yeah, because every time I look at a crossbar, I think of Cody Parkey.
Oh, my God. That's awesome.
Like every time I see a crossbar, I'm like, double doink.
Fuck you, Cody Parkey.
I'm pretty sure like Double Doink Express is going to be my fantasy football name in all my leagues this year.
Oh.
And, like when I play Madden online, I've like I think I was playing yesterday and I kicked one off the crossbar and it like just brought me back to
it's like PTSD. It's like it's PTSD being triggered.
Every time I see a Bears kicker on the field, I'm just gonna go kill myself. This is terrible.
Shit!
I can't handle this anymore. It's literally like okay, and I keep saying I said I had to go, but this is a great story.
Yeah, go ahead.
My fiance had never seen me get angry at a sporting event before on television, and she was over when the Bears lost to the Eagles, and he double doinked, and I looked at her and I said, "They're gonna miss it." And I was like, Andy's probably going to hit the crossbar. And then he hit both. And I stood up and I just yelled, motherfucker, so loud. My dog peed because she was so scared. And I looked over at Dana, and I think she immediately was like, why did I say yes when he proposed to me?
I made a mistake. I made a terrible, terrible mistake.
I know you flip couches, so like your wife is used to it.
With good things, so I flipped a couch when a good thing.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but like
I was happy.
I cry. I cried when the Cubs won the World Series. I'll cry when the Bears win the Super Bowl in Miami this year.
I'm a crier too. Did I ever tell you the first time Kara saw me being emotional about sports? At least you had Dano locked in. We'd been dating for like 4 weeks, and the Mavericks lost in the playoffs to the Suns. And I got so angry, I started tearing up and choking up. And we'd been dating for 4 weeks, and somehow this chick stayed with me.
It was like Steve Nash and Maurice Stoudemire. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I mean, it was like Boris Diaw and fucking like, oh my God, man, I was so fucking pissed. And she saw me get emotional, and it was one of the more embarrassing things that's ever happened. But she stayed. Sure. She stayed. Hey, dude, I know you have to go, so I'm going to let you go. I appreciate you coming on tonight. It's been a hell of a lot of fun. It made me like, it reminded me of like, a non-FCC regulated version of what we used to get to do, which is freaking perfect because we got to talk about trannies and say fuck. It was awesome.
Yeah, I don't know why we went there.
I don't either.
And it was fun.
That's where my brain goes. But yeah, I appreciate you coming on, man. Tell everybody where they can find you and what you're doing.
Yep, at Joe George Radio on Twitter. Producing the afternoon show on Sports Talk 790 from 3 to 6 every day. And hopefully 2 podcasts.
2?
Yeah, coming soon. One with my buddy Tristan, who is the guy who is hoping to get drafted into the XFL. And then maybe Earl Bennett, the former Bears wide receiver. He's doing a weekly hit with Clanton and Wex, and we talked about a podcast this week. So maybe we'll do that. And I also think I'm going to be here a lot more.
Yeah, definitely. You're definitely going to be here a lot more. That's for sure. Yep. We just can't go for an hour and a half next time, or else our wives are going to kill us if we do.
Mine doesn't live here, so only you're in trouble.
Yeah. Well, mine's probably going to bed right now, so it's fine. She'll be asleep. She'll dream about killing me instead of actually physically killing me.
But you can't try out those new lines tonight. Sorry, Josh.
No, I can't. I can't try. I'll try tomorrow night, and then I'll get slapped for it. This is the waste of talent. Wait, what?
I thought that was only on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, that is special occasions. Special occasions sometimes. This is The Waste of Talent with Josh Beard. You can follow me at Josh Beard Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Josh Beard Radio, as well as Josh Beard on YouTube and Tooth Pete on Instagram and Twitch. This is also Twitch's #1 sports talk show. If you didn't know that, you know that now. And I'm not making that up. It's not a thing I'm just saying to make myself seem cooler than I am. That's a real thing. But I appreciate all of y'all watching. I appreciate everyone commenting. And Joe,